I've tried uploading this video a couple of times. Hopefully this one will work. Um, Rangers Football Club, Glasgow Rangers Football Club has now taken the step of going into administration. Sad day for Rangers fans, of course, especially sad that it's on Valentine's Day, 14th February 2012. The reason for this administration is obviously financial. They have large amounts of tax that they owe to the HRMC, the Revenue and Customs. Just on the 13th of February, Rangers gave notice in the Court of Session in Edinburgh that they were going to take the step of going into administration. The following morning, which was just now yesterday, the 14th, the Revenue and Customs filed a legal notice in court to try to get Glasgow Rangers appointed an administrator. Originally, when Rangers filed the notice, they would have had 10 days to actually act and appoint an administrator, but due to the Revenue and Customs actually putting in their legal bid, Rangers Football Club was given until 3:30 p.m. to find an administrator. They actually found one at 14:50. That's 2:50 p.m. and they appointed the London firm Duff and Phelps as administrators. Of course, therefore the legal bid by Revenue and Customs was unsuccessful. HMRC have said, the Revenue said, that they lodged its petition over alleged non-payment of around £9 million in PAYE and VAT unpaid since May 2011, following Craig White's takeover of the club. Mr. White confirmed on Monday that that the club had filed the legal papers to appoint administrators, and he's been very positive. He said that Rangers would come out strong and always be here. Obviously this whole financial situation is extremely complex. Now, even though Revenue and Customs say that this bill is 9 million, there's actually several other more bills that Rangers may face. They face another £4 million in tax. PAYE is a tax that employers pay. It's taken from source from the money that has been earned before the wages are given to the employees. The club or whoever the employers are supposed to take off the wages and actually pay it to the government. It seems that Rangers Football Club have not been doing that, which according to the official papers from Revenue and Customs, they have not been receiving the money. Which is why they, in response to Rangers filing the administration papers, actually filed papers themselves to have Rangers appointed an administrator. And as I said, Duffs and Phelps are now the administrators for Glasgow Rangers Football Club, and that's again a official statement from them, saying that they obviously have to do due diligence, which is looking at the full financial figures of Rangers Football Club, what money they have, what money they had, the comings and goings of all the money in Rangers for whatever period they decide to actually look at. It's possibly they'll just look at approximately the last year or so following the takeover. I don't know what legal steps then were taken depending on financial improvement to get Craig White, whatever the steps were taken for Craig White to look at the financial records of Rangers when he was going to be taking them over. I don't know what he looked at. Obviously there must have been something that he liked, because he did go through with the takeover. Although sources say, according to BBC Scotland, Chick Young and Alistair Lamond, that some of the banks were actually told Sir David Murray to sell the club to Craig White. Now, obviously, this is not the entire complete story yet, even yet. Obviously, like I said, it's very extremely complicated. Yet a tax tribunal still to be decided. There's no word on whether that's been delayed. It's still the club is still, of course, awaiting a tax tribunal decision, and that could be that decision. If the decision goes against them, that's another bill of approximately £49 million that they may face, which brings up their total of possible debts to around about £75 million in total. I don't know whether that's including the amount of money they owe some Scottish clubs, like my club, Dun United. They owe Hearts. They owe several Inverness. They owe several football clubs money from television rights. I think they said, and obviously they were actually going to be possibly sorting out, but also with this different Phelps firm of administrators coming in. Obviously, some of that stuff will be suspended, while, like I said, due diligence looking at the true figures will be done, and it will take several days at least for that to be done. Although Duff and Phelps have been apparently helping Rangers with financial guidance over the last couple of months, so hopefully they already have a handle on the situation. And of course, administrators would not surely go into a club and they did make a small statement. Paul Clark and Dave Whitehouse from Duff and Phelps made a short statement actually saying HMRC have been working closely with the club in recent months to achieve a solution to the club's difficulties. However, this has not been possible due to ongoing losses and increased tax liabilities that cannot be sustained. Now, obviously, they're talking about there about the tax tribunal that's still to be decided. They're actually, like I said, it's got up to £49 million, and I'm not even talking about fines or interest that may be a charge for the non-payment. Again, as everybody knows, non-payment of taxes, especially big companies, is extremely serious. Now, there was the suggestion, and I don't know, but whether by Chit Young on BBC Scotland tonight. I've listened to several different medias, 5 Live, Talksport, and BBC Scotland, of course. There was a suggestion, because like I said, PAYE is a tax paid for by the employer, and it's taken off the wages, and non-payment of that, the only see is it could be an actual crime. I don't know whether what's going to happen. Apparently, Revenue and Customs were kind of cooperating with Rangers very late in the day, very near the deadline of 3:30 p.m. that Rangers had to appoint an administrator. Like I said, 40 minutes before that, they did appoint an administrator, and this is all, everything I'm saying is in public record. It's all on the news, and it's been officially confirmed by BBC Scotland and their official sources at the club and the Revenue spokespeople today. Obviously, Rangers have a football game this Saturday at 3 p.m. Now, Strathclyde Police said earlier on today that it has now resolved issues over payment for policing which may have affected the Rangers' home game at Ibrox against Kilmarnock on Saturday. The fourth statement said, this is taken from the official statement, "We have had a positive meeting with the administrators and received assurances about payment for the provision of police services at this weekend's match. We are working with the club and planning for the game as normal." So obviously it looks like the game is going ahead. Obviously, Mr. White has acknowledged that the club also has a £10 million deficit in annual running costs, and apparently he said that he's borrowed up to £24 million against 4 years of future season ticket revenue from Ticketus. Apparently, Ticketus is one of his companies. Obviously, like I said, they're still waiting the tax tribunal decision over a disputed bill, which plus penalties could be totaled up to £49 million. Now, obviously, on Saturday, Rangers Football Club also signed a player. Well, apparently signed a player, Mr. Daniel Kuzan. Now, apparently, again, according to BBC Scotland sources, although the agreement for the player has been reached, they say that the player has not signed any official contract. Now, when Rangers went into administration this afternoon, they received, of course, and have already received it, a 10-point penalty, which they lose 10 points in the Scottish Premier League. They also automatically undergo a transfer embargo, which means they cannot sign players. Now, like I said, they were waiting on international visas, international permits, because they need visas. Obviously, somebody needs a foreign national needs a visa to work in this country, in Scotland. So I don't know the situation with that, whether he'll be allowed to join the Rangers or not, because he hasn't signed an official contract. So if he has not signed an official contract, I do not believe he can actually be registered as officially as a Rangers player. So whether he will be allowed to sign for the club or not, I don't know who's going to make that decision, whether it be UEFA or FIFA, or whether it be SPL, the Scottish Premier League, or the Scottish Football Association. I don't know. In the coming days, we'll have to wait. The only statement that the SFA and SPL have made was regarding the 10-point deduction, and obviously acknowledging Rangers have gone into administration and that the 10-point deduction now applies. That's the only short statement they made. Earlier on today, into a press conference, they didn't take questions, similar to the administrators. They did not take any questions. So obviously this is a hugely financially complicated issue. It's certainly going to go on for a long time. So I've already said some fans on forums saying that this is going to be a short-term thing and Rangers get out of the way. Unfortunately, it's not. They want to play in Europe. They have to clear the administrators and have their accounts signed off by May 31st. This is obviously not going to be the case. This is already in the middle of February. They have the potential of going for a provisional licence if financial guarantees can be made. They can go for a provisional licence if FIFA and UEFA agree to allow them to do that, and they may be able to play in Europe. Obviously, they want to qualify for Champions League or UEFA Cup to bring in more money to the club. Obviously, said it looks like the game against Kilmarnock, the first cash injection that they possibly have, looks like it will go ahead. So again, it's a very, very complicated financial situation. It's like I said, it's only happened within the last 3 days now that they've gone into administration. It's a really seriously complicated mess. Obviously, it's not the players, the manager, Mr. Alan McLeish, I'm sure they're going to get slated for it, but it's the ones with the purse strings that should be actually blamed for this. The ones that have held the purse strings for the last few years that should blame for this. I've always liked Ali McCoy, being a great skilled footballer, a great guy. Apparently, very, very nice being on presenting questions in the sport and other television and radio stuff he's done. He seems a nice guy, funny guy. So it's not the players that are. I feel sorry for the fans. Feel sorry for the innocent staff that actually are possibly losing their jobs. I know some of the players will be culled, will be fired. They certainly will be. Some of them will be losing their jobs. Some of the innocent staff will be losing their jobs, obviously because of the wage bill. And that's what I've said all along. Is hopefully the players, if to survive, maybe they can take a cut in their wages. so that even though they may be earning slightly less, in the short term, they could actually gain it in the long term. Obviously, they've been paid things like bonuses, and I'm not against bonuses because they put in hard work on the field and off the field, worked hard in training and matches to earn the trophies, to earn the titles. No problem with them earning the bonuses they're entitled to for winning championships and trophies and leagues. The other different stuff that is the competitions. So obviously, it's a very, very complicated situation. The more details will only come out within the next few weeks and months. And like I said, the Phelps and Duff are only starting Duff and Phelps are only really starting the due diligence, looking at the papers and the financial records. But again, hopefully, Duff and Phelps having apparently helped Rangers in the last few months with financial advice, like I said earlier on, hopefully their company won't want to be involved in failing to save a company. So hopefully they're taking this on in the hope and in the realisation that they could hopefully save Rangers Football Club. I don't want to see any club go out of business. I saw it with Gretna, it was horrible. I saw Dundee United's neighbours in this city, Dundee FC, almost go out of business. We don't want to see things like that in football. Obviously, Scottish football would be poorer if Rangers and Celtic moved to an English Premiership, which has been touted for many years. I don't know whether they would actually stay in Glasgow if they did move to the English Premiership. It's not really about the travel, it's more about the cost of the travels, because in Dundee, Liam Kelly can go from Dundee Airport to London in 1 hour. So it's not really the travel time, it's more the travel costs. So we'll just have to wait and see. It's an extremely complicated situation. I don't know what is going to happen. Like I said, it's only just started. We're just going to have to keep an eye on it. Like I said, I'm a Dundee United fan, but it's certainly going to be a long process. It's going to go on for months. I think Rangers may actually be prevented from playing in Europe next season. Obviously, they've lost the league for this season. It's going to be their fourth consecutive league win that they were going for. This is obviously not going to happen because I can't see them catching up about 14 points from Celtic. It's extremely complicated financially and legally situation. It's going to be certainly going to be it's a very scary. That's right. It's a very scary time for Rangers fans. Obviously, they don't know whether the club's going to survive, and other Scottish football teams and businesses don't know whether they're going to get paid any money. If they're going into administration, there's a good possibility that any creditors owed money will only get a few pence in the pound for what they're owed now. And again, it's the only situation that's just started. We're going to have to just keep an eye on it and wait and see how it develops. Also said, my thoughts about the fans, the players, the innocent staff, the ones in the hospitality or the caring or whatever staff that obviously like said, it's the people with the purse strings that should have reined them in more carefully. Rangers will always pay lots of money for players, lots and lots of money in wages. Like I said, they should have said, we can't afford this player, but maybe we could afford this player if we can get his price knocked down a bit, or we could get a bit of disagreement about a little bit smaller wages. I'm sure that players would be willing to. The players, I'm sure, will be still willing to play for Rangers. Obviously, they have to play to get paid. I'm not sure again that Hearts players almost were able to walk out. Heart Midlothian Football Club in Edinburgh based football team, they paid their tax bill today, so apparently that's dealt with. But it's going to be a very long and complicated situation for Rangers Football Club, and just one we're going to have to wait further developments. As I said, situation only started, but again, to Rangers fans, surely Duff and Phelps have come aboard, and again they were appointed very, very quickly, and as I said, they seem to have been involved for the last couple of months trying to give Rangers some financial advice. The hope is for Rangers fans that they wouldn't take this job on if they didn't think They're administrators, not liquidators. They're administrators, not liquidators. There's a couple of there's some companies that are administrators, some companies that do both. I'm sure Duff & Phelps possibly can do both. They may have a liquidation side to the company, but Duff & Phelps are mostly administrators. So hope they probably have taken this on, thinking that they can actually save the club and actually organise things and steer the ship away from the waterfall, going over the waterfall that is into liquidation. So there is still hope for Rangers fans and fans of Scottish football. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. Like I said, it's a very complicated situation. All the fans of Scottish football are just going to have to wait and see. Like I said, my thoughts go out to all this innocent staff and the staff of suppliers and suppliers companies that may be hit. We've seen other major companies in Scotland go out of business or suffer trouble, and a couple of supplier companies go out of business as a result. It's going to be, I feel sorry for every innocent people involved. It really is going to be really a sad situation for Rangers. So again, my thoughts go out to all the fans and that. We're just going to have to wait and see what happens. Thanks for watching the video. Again, it's a very perilous situation for Rangers Football Club and for Scottish football as a whole. It could have a serious knock-on effect. We're just going to have to keep an eye on the situation as it develops.